Hi and welcome to my playhouse, and today we have a spare part that came in. I ordered this SAS Expander Backplane on eBay for my good Patreon money. Thank you very much to all my patrons. I had to plug that sometimes because new patrons come and old patrons leave, so yeah, try to have more people come than leave. So but this one had a faulty diode. Well, I think it's a transistor or something, and I found that after multiple hours of trying to get this up and running, and it just didn't work. So finally I found that, oh, there is something defective on this, and I took some pictures, and you saw that in the last video. And then I went and I communicated with the eBay buyer. There was also a cable in the server that was clearly modified. I actually started there because I thought that was defective, that the power cable for this wasn't working. But I got a really long way with diplomacy and respect, instead of just starting to yell at this eBay seller. He might not know that this was defective, so kindly asked if, well, this cable is so and so and so, you said it was new, so kind of like, okay, what do we do here? And then in the second video I found out that it wasn't really the cable, it was the board itself that was defective. So I took some good pictures of that defectiveness in there, and I sent that to him and said, oh, I've actually found that after hours of testing, which is true. I did use hours trying to get that up and running because I thought it was the power cable, and that might be something that we could fix. It should work if we switch the cables around and stuff like that, but it didn't work. So yeah, something was wrong, and I finally found that component that had taken damage on the board. So I sent pictures of that, and no problem whatsoever. He sent me a new one, and that arrived. So even in this bad experience, awesome customer service. And this was even sent very quickly using not the cheapest transport, but DHL from wherever this came from. I saw on the packaging it actually came directly from China, so that was all fine. Yeah, this is this is amusing a little bit. They made their own boxes out of other old boxes, so definitely keeping the price down there. So here we have, he sent a new cable, one that isn't weird and altered, so awesome, thank you very much. Everything is nice. I have had this out. I took some picture and put them on Twitter, so yeah, definitely go follow me on Twitter, that would be awesome. So today we're gonna put that in the server and hopefully have a running system exactly like the other one. So I have to make sure to put in the right one, so I'll keep the styrofoam close to this one. And this is $180 expensive backplane, so it's not just a cheap thing that they just send for fun. So I'm sure they're very sad that one didn't work. That's $180 right out the window, plus all the shipping that they kind of lost having to ship another one to me. You win some and you lose some. I didn't bother putting on the LED again because I haven't had this server on since we were messing with it. I did put in that display here up in front. That one, we did a video on that, but I haven't had the server on since then. The display works with just the IMM in here, so yeah, cool. That's why the LED is off. We were working on this. So messing with this, let's take and disconnect power to it. There. I had put some long wires in here so that I could do that, so I could do some testing. I did that for the second video on this. I think we're gonna be way more lucky today and be able to get this up and running in next to no time. Okay, so working up here in front, let's start by taking out this dodgy cable with the weird add-on. This one, someone mounted a Model X connector on there. Just cut the wires from here and put on a new connector. Yeah, I don't know, if probably should have measured that. I didn't. We are putting on a new one. this one will do just fine. It has to go over there. Well, it would probably work just as fine on that one. But, well, they put a connector for us to use over there for the backplane located here in slot number 1. There. That goes in. We have these 2 cables, and they go over to, yeah, I've kind of tucked all the cables away here to be out of the way when we put in that display, so we need to take those out again. And then we need to put in the new board here, maybe just do a nice thumbnail here. Okay, and that goes in. Oh, how does that go in? I believe it goes in like this. And definitely not drop it or break it in any other way. It sits in some slots at the bottom of the system board, and there is these spikes here that has to line up with some holes in the PCB, and then these plastic thingies are the ones holding it in place. So just tapping those up and the board goes right in. So if you want to remove it again, you kind of just wiggle these upwards and the board comes out. So it's very easy to install in that regard. And then it just needs some power. And I see this power cable is long enough, so I'm gonna move that over to slot number 2, because this is actually slot number 3. So let's see if slot number 2, if that won't be long enough. I did actually also buy a new cable because I didn't know how long it would take for this eBay seller to send the correct cable, and they weren't that expensive, so instead of waiting I thought, yeah, this is not gonna be long enough. Let's get that cable. Okay, here's the cable that I purchased. That came from Germany actually. It's made in China, but well, it was available in Germany, so that's where I got it from. It came, I ordered it to work, and it was rudely overpacked. It was ridiculous so much packaging there were for that cable. So that was kind of amusing. We had a good laugh of that. Could have easily been the Queen's new silverware, but it was just a cable for me. So yeah, brand new. It's kind of stiff. So it's definitely long enough. There. Awesome. Then we have these 2. These are the 12 gigabit SAS cables from the RAID controller, which is located further down in the system board, and they are very nicely numbered with number 0 and number 1, and port 0 is the one closest to me, and port 1 is the one a little bit further away. Big trouble is to actually get this to look kind of nice-ish, because these cables was meant to go down there, and now they only have to go there, so they are long enough. Let's see what we can do. Port 0 is in and tucked out of the way. Let's do the same thing with port number 1. Cool. Then we have the 2 cables. If you haven't seen the first videos, the RAID controller is back here. That sends 2 ports up here to this SAS Expander. The SAS Expander takes those 8 hard drives and it expands it up to more hard drives, which means that this is a kind of a smart board. It's the one that splits up the SAS signal, and then we are connecting extra 8 ports to it over here. So instead of the RAID controller being able to handle 8 drives, it can now handle 16 drives. The RAID controller can handle a lot more drives. I forget the number, but some of them are 512 drives, and some of them are like 1024 drives. There are plenty. So we have a number 0 and a number 1, and in this regard, this is number 1 and that one is number 0. and these cables are also numbered, and I do believe that I put them on right. So if I don't, oh, they have only numbered. So number 0 is that one that I'm messing with here, so that has to go on the furthest out here, that port. These connectors are often pretty hard to get to line up, or I'm just bad at it. I'm one of the two. So, oh, and then it works at the first go. That's so. Yeah, now we have expanded it. Now we just need to put the lid on and see if everything works as it should. I have no doubt in my mind that this should work. I have no reason to believe that this eBay seller would send me another bad card. So yeah, I think we'll just put the lid on and hope for the best. On the display here in front, you can kind of keep up with what the server is doing when it's booting. Right now we haven't turned it on yet, but it's booting its IMM adapter in there, and it gives me different information on the way to being ready to power on and power off. With the display you get some more information doing startup. It's very normal if I power on the server before the IMM is done doing its initializing. The server will be very noisy because the IMM controls the heating and the fan blowing systems, and if it doesn't know, if it isn't ready yet and it doesn't know what it's doing, it will just ram up all the fans to make sure that it's not undercooling the server. But as soon as the IMM is up and it has control over the temperature and can see how everything is still working here, loading, well, the fans will spin down again, and it won't be as noisy. If you have your servers in a rack in a data center away from where you live and sleep, well, it doesn't matter if they're noisy. I kind of like, this one is the one that is on right now. It's not that noisy, and I can easily talk over it, even though the microphone up here is pointing directly at it. So I have to yell a little bit to make sure that you can actually hear what I'm saying, because the microphone really wants to pick up this server instead. Let's try and power this now, see what we get. And it did actually, it is a little bit noisy. I think it will power down a little bit when it gets a little bit further. But we can see what it's doing. It's initializing memory, it's waiting for Wi-Fi, it's checking out some drives. Oh, out of frame, and that's a good thing because it wasn't doing that before with the bad backplane. It kind of says the same thing over here. Now it says memory initializing, it says system initializing here. So it goes into a little bit more details over here than over here. Awesome. I have those two drives here. Those two. These are two 4 terabytes Barracuda drives, and yeah, I wasn't able to put those in because I had only one spot left in the backplane. Now I will be able to take one of these out and put more drives in. I weren't able to put in more drives because I ran out of disk trays, so I purchased some new disk trays, but also I now added the backplane, so I can now put in 16 drives over here instead of these 8. So this one definitely has to go, and that one has to go out as well. Can actually just reuse this one and put that back in there, and I'll find some other ones. Looks good. Let's go into system to go in and check out drives. I see this working from here. All the drives has lit up and blinking happily, and I see that we came into the BIOS without any issues whatsoever. It didn't complain. It didn't tell me that it was missing any drives. In the display video where I put in this display, we didn't see how much power the server was using when it was on. Right now it's only in the BIOS, so it's probably not using maximum information, but well, 22 degrees in the data center. CPU 1 is at 32 degrees, 232 volts coming in, and we are using 164 watts. That's a bit more than I was expecting actually. So in the BIOS, let's go down to system settings, and there is a storage down here, and under storage we can see what the storage sees. Awesome. We have two RAID controllers in here. I have an LSI controller to go out the back. That's the one that I'm playing with when I'm trying to use that Hewlett-Packard DAS with the 70 drives in it. And there is this one, which is the internal storage, which is the one that we are playing with right now. So let's enter that and see what that sees. We need to go into the main menu, and we can see our drive management. If they're in drive management, we're good. And they are. We see two 300 gigabyte SAS drives, and then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4 terabytes Barracuda SATA drives. So awesome. Let's add those two new ones to see the backplane working. I will add the first one in the old backplane here. Maybe, if it will go in. There. Let's see if it checks it out. Didn't do anything big. That's kind of weird. Let's put this one is going in number 8. Oh, it did actually check it out now. It's going in bay number 8, which is the first bay in the new SAS Expander. So let's see if that checks out at some point. Yeah, there, it recognized that something had happened there. This one is blinking weirdly. I don't know if it's getting a false signal from over here or what's going on there. So let's see, how do we see our new drives in here? We still have 5 here, so wasn't there 5? So let's escape and let's go in again. And it sees 2 new drives that has popped up down here. It sees this one and this one. They're unconfigured good from a foreign configuration. Probably true. My good buddy Jim gave these to me, so it's probably a foreign configuration from when he was using them. I'm gonna delete that. I'm probably gonna do a bit of a video where we import these into the other cluster, but for now we just want to see that the 2 drives are there. But I also want to show that the server actually went up a couple of watts. So right now we're using 167 watts instead of 160. Or was it 62 or 64? I forget. But it went up a few watts because of the 2 new drives that are now spinning in there. So yeah, but we did also add 8 terabytes to our array, so that is kind of cool. So those few watts per hard drive, and of course the amount of wattage that it uses goes up when it's actually using the drives. Right now it's actually gone down. I have no idea why. But that's why this is a bad idea. I have a lot of hard drives in here, and from here to here, those are just 500 gigabyte drives, and there are like 8 of those. So yeah, it's wasted energy kind of, because 500 gigabytes in 8 drives, it's just one of these drives. That's the same amount of space right there. Yeah, if each of these uses 5 watts, well, we have too many watts right there. It's like, that could be 40 watts. I'm not sure if they actually use that much. 40 watts for just hard drives, where you can probably use 4 or 5 watts in one of these and have the same, not the same security, but the same amount of space. We have this working. Please remember to give this video a like. It's working. And I also have this other backplane which is broken. I think I'm gonna try and see if I can fix that at some point. But these SMD components, they're tiny and my eyes are not very good anymore. If you follow me on Twitter, you will see that I've become old and I now need glasses to see things close on. So I need one of those big thingies to zoom. What do you call those? They're called a loop in Danish, just so that you know that I do know what it's called. I just don't know what it's called in English. But the big things that you can point at something and you can look through it and you can see small things get very big and you can solder on the other side. I need one of those so that I can try and fix that thing. It's $180. I was so unlucky that this replacement backplane, well, cost them found it interesting. So yeah, I had to pay some customs, but well, I got 3 awesome videos out of this. So well, for me it might not be as bad as if you're ordering this for your server, but I got to entertain you with new videos on high-end server equipment, even though the first one wasn't that great. I did prove a very important lesson. It's way better to start with diplomacy and respect when dealing with eBay sellers. I got an awesome service from this company. I think I might put it up here so you can actually see the company that was sending this to me, and I had no issues whatsoever. They were, oh, it's broken, we'll send a new one. Oh, that's broke, we'll send a new one. There was no problem whatsoever. I never opened an eBay case at all. It was all just communication, and I didn't have to be an idiot or rude at any point, and it worked out great. I have a working system, have another thingy that I can mess around with, see if I can get that up and running. Maybe, I have no idea what to use that for, but well, do leave your experience with eBay purchases or any other internet purchases in the comments below, and do remember to check out the comments on my videos. I am never the smartest guy on any subject. There is always someone way smarter than me that has commented the right answer in the comments, and I just have to lay down flat and admit that, well, that would have been a better solution. So check that out in the comments below. Way smarter people than me are sharing their knowledge down there. But thank you very much for watching my videos. Do subscribe to my channel so that you can see me again. And thank you very much to my patron who has sponsored this video series by paying for that SAS Expander Backplane. 12 gigabits. Awesome. Have a nice day. Bye bye.